Why hello, and welcome to BBR Week 3. I don't know why I just did a hand swing like that. BBR Week 3 against Week 3. It's definitely not even Week 3. I'm a mess today. BBR Week 5. BBR Week 5. Wow, that was pathetic. Whew, okay. Here we are, Week 5, in the BBR against the League Commissioner, MidPokemaster. So, we lost last week to Shay, which sucks a lot. There's a lot of things that I could have done better. There's a lot of more things I could have been a little bit more attentive to in terms of bringing the right mons and things like that. But that's all behind us, and all in the past. The plan is to make playoffs still. We are 3-1. We are set in a position to do that. There has been no point in the league so far where we have been out of playoff contention or like out of the top 8 in the league. So let's just keep that track going, not let the past haunt us, and keep moving forward. There's only a few more weeks left. We are at week 5. It's a 9-week season, so this really does mark the halfway point in the league, which is absolutely fantastic. And it would be great to be 4-1 going into halfway through the league, because if you can repeat that the second half, it's a good time. So we are going up once again against MidPokemaster. Like I said, he is 2-2. We are 3-1. And I'm going to go into the team that he has. You could see it right here. It is Salamence, Reuniclus, Fortress, Vaporeon, Gramble, Zangoose, Mega Venusaur, Stakataka, Thunderous Incarnate, Piloswine, Girder. So a couple things I noticed about Mid's team, right? One is that it's kind of slow, right? His fastest mon is Thunderous, which is like 111, which is fine. But once you get into these lower speed tiers, he has stuff like Vaporeon, Gramble, Fortress, Reuniclus, shit that's really slow. So things like a Trick Room Reuniclus, or a Trick Room, or Granbull under Trick Room, or Girder under Trick Room, or even Piloswine under Trick Room is something that I've even done before. Really viable and something that he could very well do against me. Even if it doesn't have the greatest matchup, it works so well with his team that it might just be something he brings regardless. That being said, there's a couple other things. His Psychic resists are relatively few. Not relatively few, but like it's basically just Stakataka and Fortress and Reuniclus, and none of those are dark resistant. So as you can see, my Mew set is very tailored to that. That being said, a lot of his team is also relatively defensive, is a little bit preyed on by rocks, and struggles a little bit in that regard. But other than that, we are looking at a very interesting team matchup for sure. I'm going to go into the team builder right here. Not going to try and waste as much time. I know that I make these videos a little bit longer than they should be, and I apologize for that. However, the first mon we had, like I said, is Mew. His Psychic resists do not resist Dark, which necessarily means that a modest Darkinium Z will bop either the Stakataka or the Fortress or the Reuniclus, especially if it's an AV set or something along those lines. It doesn't need much speed necessarily to outspeed some things, and Soft-Boiled with max HP and a little bit of defense investment will help sort of set up against mons that are even slightly more offensive. If Thunderous Therian isn't a sort of boosting item and doesn't have Dark Pulse, I could actually set up against maybe like a Thunderbolt or a Volt Switch or something like that. So that's very, very nice indeed. The next mon is Whimsicott. I sort of realized that Salamence was a huge threat for my team, and I figured the best option was to have an Encore Whimsicott. Now, first of all, I should say this because I didn't say this against Shay. I made free agents. I don't know why I didn't mention this last time. I made free agents. I traded Heracross and Comfey for Whimsicott and Hariyama. And that is purely because Whimsicott became available, and I wanted a mon that was in the 110s for speed, because I had a gap between Kartana and Mega Aerodactyl between 108 and 150. So I wanted somewhere to bridge that gap, and Whimsicott did that perfectly. It was very nice to get like a real grass type as opposed to Kartana, which is sort of just like a fake grass type. So that is Whimsicott right there, with U-Turn, Moonblast, Giga Drain, and Encore. Encore to lock Salamence into either Dragon Dance if he tries to do that, or, if I come in on a Dragon Claw, or even if he Fire Fangs me and I get really low, I can go for Encore and lock him into Fire Fang, and I can go into my Aerodactyl and Revenge him. So that's very, very nice. Moonblast plus Giga Drain hits some of his team, and then I can U-Turn on things like the Mega Venusaur. Hariyama with Flame Orb is very interesting here. Facade, Close Combat, Knockoff, Fire Punch. It is sort of walled by a max defense Venusaur, but it really does beat everything else. It especially comes in very, very, very nicely on things like Vaporeon, comes in very nicely on some other mons. Things like Fortress can come in on and Fire Punch. It can also come in and sort of you know, completely nuke and take out something like a Stakataka, which is very, very great. Even though I don't think Stakataka is going to come in any world, it's definitely, you know, there for that purpose. The next one is Rotom. Rotom is very key here in a couple of ways. One is it's my best resist to Stakataka. Now, that being said, I don't think Stakataka is coming. I have Suicune, I have all these things, but I still wanted, you know, some relative answer to it. The other thing, too, is it baits in the Mega Venusaur, and that's very important because it means I can Volt Switch on the Mega Venusaur, predicting the Mega Venusaur to come in, and get free setup on my Mew because of it, because Mew sets up on Venusaur 100% of the time. Rotom's also very nice to come in on things like Vaporeon, which have very high HP. I can, you know, Pain Split and Volt Switch right again. It's also very nice to come in against things like, that's not what I was looking for, come in against things like Zangoose if need be, come in against things like Piloswine even though I don't have hazard clearing necessary, like a Will-O-Wisp and Hexit, which is absolutely nice. It's also very nice for something like Reuniclus. Any sort of, as long as it's not Life Orb, any Reuniclus, you know, gets sort of stalled in the sense of I can Will-O-Wisp it and then go for Hex, and it like KOs most sets. It definitely 2 KOs an Assault Vest set, which is like insane. Also comes in on Fortress. It's a spin blocker, which is absolutely nice, and that's very crucial for this game, given that I have Stealth Rocks on my Mega Aerodactyl, which is very, very nice. So Stone Edge plus Aerial Ace once again hits his entire team, absent the Stakataka, which, like I said, I don't think is coming. I started basically building in a way that sort of just assumed Stakataka wasn't coming at this point, mainly because I just had good responses for it. And I just put on rocks on this Aerodactyl, and, you know, Home Claws and Dual Stab otherwise hits things pretty well. Now, why am I so damn speedy? Because I was an idiot and crept Thundurus Incarnate with a regular Aerodactyl instead of a Mega Aerodactyl. So that was me just being a dumb idiot in team prep. Clearly haven't learned my lesson from against Shay in terms of doing dumb things. So, like I said, I don't think Stakataka is coming. I played around with this last spot a little bit. I played around with Kartana here, and you'll notice this team is like very low tier. It's like using a lot of my low tiers, and it's mostly because my high tiers just had bad matchup, right? Like Kartana got walled by Venusaur and freaking Fortress. Not to mention other things like just finding coverage and being able to beat stuff like the Granbull if I don't have Smart Strike, and not being able to beat Girder if I don't have Psycho Cut, Thundurus outspeeding and just killing me, all this shit. Even like a bulky Salamence could come in and sort of deal with Kartana relatively effectively. So there's just not really much room for it necessarily. And, you know, I was looking at Heatran sort of get walled by, you know, Reuniclus, like any sort of like, I couldn't bring like a Toxic Stalling set because, like, you know, Magic Guard walled it. Vaporeon was scary, and I couldn't bring Suicune either, mostly because I couldn't really hit Mega Venusaur, couldn't hit Vaporeon. It was just a lot of things I couldn't bring. So I ended up deciding, look, I'm going to take this risk that Stakataka isn't coming, and maybe even Fortress won't come, and I'm just going to bring a Sleep Talk, Last Resort, Banded Komala, and we'll see how it works. I really don't have much to say about it. It's more just like, if his steel types are down, I can just go in. Now, I'm sort of operating under the assumption that Stakataka probably doesn't come. I would say maybe like 90% chance it doesn't come. And then if Fortress comes, he might look and say, okay, Aquarius didn't bring Kartana, which means Fortress is a little bit more expendable. Just get up rocks and maybe die or whatever. So hopefully he might have that opinion of, you know, Fortress not having to wall Kartana and sack it off, and then Komala can go in as a result. So that's the team, and we will get into the game. Alright, we are here in the game, and as I predicted, there is no Stakataka, which is absolutely fantastic. It means things like Aerodactyl, Komala have a little bit more leg room, and Hariyama has a little bit more space to sweep, etc. Everything else is pretty much what I expected. There's no Granbull, there's no like sort of lower tier mons. There's nothing really to fear in terms of stuff I wasn't expecting. Everything he brought basically made a lot of sense. I was scared of the Salamence and the Thundurus and the Mega Venusaur and the Reuniclus and all that stuff. He ended up working pretty well. So I'm actually going to mute the sound because I effed that up. But we will be challenged by Pokemon Trainer Jesse, aka MidPokemaster. Once again, thank you to Lantern Joe for recording the battle. Very, very important. Now, these first few turns are very, very interesting, so I can't wait to commentate over them. He leads Reuniclus. I'm like, okay, he led Reuniclus. That's kind of awkward. I sort of confirms to me he's not a Calm Mind set, so maybe he's like, you know, a AV set. And if he's AV, Will-O-Wisp will actually do damage because he'd be Regenerator, and Hex would kill him. Or Hex would, like, do double damage. He ends up going for Trick Room, and I'm like, oh shit, that's terrible. Now, the way that my Rotom is invested is I have a 15 out of 16 chance to die from a modest max special attack Life Orb Shadow Ball from Reuniclus. And that's the best possible thing this Reuniclus can be. And he gets the max roll against me. And I'm like, holy shit. All right, Komala. I need some justice here. And that was really important too, because Hex definitely KO'd after the burn. So he goes for a Focus Blast and missed against Komala. And I'm like, this is justice. This is justice for the roll. I could have gone into something like Mew, but I was like, you know what? We're getting justice for this. You know, justice has to always exist. And it did in this case. So he missed the Focus Blast, and I was able to freaking Last Resort this thing. Now he goes Fortress, knowing that I don't have anything to touch it, given my only move is Last Resort, which means I can easily switch out. And that's what I do. I'm going to go into my Hariyama here and get off a Fire Punch against this thing. That's obviously going to go for Stealth Rocks. Those Stealth Rocks don't actually bother me that much. I didn't bring Hazard Clearing this week anyway. And, you know, even though Aerodactyl is Rocks weak, it's not, like, necessarily something I'm scared of. And this thing can't actually do much to me. But he actually stays in and goes for Earthquake. Once again, we're under Trick Room, so he outspeeds me. And I'm able to just go for a Fire Punch here, and it will take it down to its Sturdy. Now, I was a little bit worried about Custap Explosion. I was looking around my team being like, is there anything I want to switch in to deal with Custap Explosion? I sort of realized with Venusaur still around, Hariyama was my most expendable mon, so either I can stay in and kill this, or he does have the Custap Berry Explosion and kills my Hariyama, and he does. So it's a very, very strange sequence of like first 4 turns. Within the first 4 turns, the game is already 4-4, and we literally just traded Reuniclus for Rotom at the start of the game just by weird luck sake in terms of the like max roll and the Focus Blast miss. So that was very interesting. I ended up just going to my Komala, given he has no more resists, and nothing he has or / can go for will kill me absent a Life Orb Focus Blast, which I don't think he has. And by going for Thunderbolt and clearly not being Life Orb, he does not have that move, and I'm able to Sleep Talk, Last Resort this thing down and kill it. So fucking hell, Komala just coming in and destroying shit. Now, Dr. Slacking, aka Matthew, told me not to bring Komala. Guess who brought Komala? Guess what? Komala has 2 kills now. So holy shit, Komala's coming in fire. So he goes Salamence to get the Intimidate drop, and then he goes Vaporeon thinking that he can take this Last Resort. He's max HP, max defense, given this damage that you're about to see. Yet, it is still as you will see, a 2-hit KO. So, yeah, even with leftovers. So, -1, Banded Last Resort, still a 2-hit KO against max defense Vaporeon. I think Vaporeon's a shit mon, I'm sorry. So I don't think it's as bulky as people like to think it is. So I will just go once again for the last resort. I am fast, which means I'm pretty sure I'm outspeeding this thing, and he can't switch in something like Salamence because it'll do about 90% to it. So he's going to go back into his Salamence. And now Last Resort is doing about still over half, but I don't want him getting a free Dragon Dance off. So I'm just going to go into my Whimsicott, as he is going to, as you can see, go for the Dragon Claw. Now, I thought this was a slightly weird play, because I actually thought he'd go do a Dragon Dance, and I can Encore him into it, but he actually just Dragon Claws. He messages me during the game, says he misclicks, and he meant to click Dragon Dance. Now, I didn't say, like, oh, it's okay, because I didn't want to reveal that I had Encore, so I didn't mention that necessarily to him, but I asked him later on, like, after the game was over, like, what did you misclick, what are you going to go for? He goes for Dragon Dance on this Moonblast turn. He will see that I will Encore him into it. Oh, you see it next turn. Sorry, I forgot that Salamence was slower than Whimsicott. I'm a bad commentator. I make bad content. I'm very sorry. But as you'll see, I'm able to Encore the Salamence into Dragon Dance. So him misclicking and going for Dragon Claw didn't actually matter necessarily. I guess it meant there could have been a little bit of life preserved on his Salamence, maybe possibly could be argued, but still, like, I was in a pretty dominant position. Now, I thought he was just going to switch out here. I was pretty sure he wasn't going to stay in with a Dragon Dancing Salamence, and if he did stay in, I could just U-turn to something else. He would still be locked into Dragon Dance the following turn. So I go for U-turn on the Venusaur coming in, and now I can go into my Mew, set up a nasty plot, and do some work. Now, in a perfect world, Sludge Bomb doesn't actually kill me here, and I can put myself in a position where neither does Dragon Claw. If he has a Z move, whatever, but, Mew could really just end and win the game here. If I get a nasty plot, and he does not get a Sludge Bomb poison, and I can, heal off the Sludge Bomb damage, and kill the Venusaur later. So it turns out that he does get the poison, which is no big deal at all. The Mew will try and synchronize it, and pathetically, realize that Venusaur is a, poison type, and that Mew just, is dumb. But that's okay. At least we'll still get to kill the Venusaur, and now it's just Salamence versus the world, 4v1, and even though Dragon Claw is going to kill the Mew, or, any move he decides to go for, I'm in a pretty nice position in which Whimsicott can come in and kill, Aerodactyl can come in and kill, all this stuff. So he is going to intimidate me, doesn't matter at all, and I am going to not be able to outspeed. He's going to go for Dragon Claw. I think I could have, roosted stuff off, but the Sludge Bomb Poison happens. It is what it is. He missed the Focus Blast, even though he got the High Roll, and I think the High Roll makes up for the Focus Blast. He also got the Poison, so, I think that's fair to make up for the Focus Blast miss. But I end up getting the kill with Aerodactyl, because I think Aerodactyl was just I think Aerodactyl and Heatran are competing on my team for being MVP. Decided to go for Aerodactyl to let it go in because, Heatran deserves to, start losing this MVP race, given it only helped me out 1 week and hasn't been able to come to as many games as I thought it would. But all that aside, we end up beating MidPokemaster, which is great. We're 4-1, which is absolutely fantastic. It's going to put us in a great situation throughout the season. And that is that. So thank you for watching, and go check out MidPokemaster. I don't know if he's uploading this league or not, but if he is, go check out his side. If he isn't, still go check out his channel, and I will see you all later.